Brian Denny has been with us forever. Yeah, you have, haven't you? For years.
Years, yeah.
Years you have been with us. He wrote. We put together this meeting very quickly, and I thought we probably wouldn't have a June meeting because I had to go to London. But then I found out from the Gallery Theater that I was going to lose $700 if I didn't do a meeting. So I said, well, I better do a meeting. So I kind of put out a call for anybody who wanted to do stuff. And Brian wrote me and he says, I have a really good idea. And I think this is relevant to a lot of you. I mean, how many people here have been given a lot of crap to edit? Yeah, well, that was a better question. How many people haven't been given a lot of crap to edit? And can you do something with that crap and make it better crap, or can you make it good? Well, our next guest was given a bunch of crap.
Digital crap.
Digital crap.
Yeah.
And we'll find out if he was able to do anything with it. So that kind of answers the question, can you fix it in post? Please welcome Brian Denny.
Hey, got my name right. Oh, thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. If I talk somewhere between these microphones, can everyone hear me back there? All right, yeah, exactly. I got to hit my 25-minute timer here. One thing that Michael had not yet started with tonight is, can I see a show of hands in the audience of people that have not been to a Final Cut Pro user group meeting before? Okay, all right. And you know, because it kind of scares me to be talking to all the professionals in the room, because I'm hearing a lot of gurus up here, and I hope that what I'm about to show you isn't like, yeah, duh, yeah, that's like 101. Well, the fact is that you know, recently a friend of mine who's trying to do a choreography job with Dancing with the Stars, he came to me and said, I shot this thing and I need you to put it together. I said, okay, great. Give me the footage. Okay, here you go. All right, now give me the audio from which you played back during the performance. And he just, this blank look came over his face, and I said, immediately, kind of like one of those roulette wheels, or like I'm in Vegas and I pulled the slot machine, I just see the numbers going shh, shh. That's the number of hours that you've just cost me to do your project, because you didn't perform this to the same track of music every time. So he has this choreography performance, and he has live musicians play it back every time. They just happen to be the, you guys, I have glare on my face, but you guys can see the screen okay, right? Okay, so back here in the back of the room here, no, I think, well, okay, whatever. If you guys need it, it's all good. So we have these trio of bongo drum players here. Forgive me for lack of the proper term for what kind of precise instrument they're playing there. Somebody knows. Anyway, so depending on their level of enthusiasm and what time it was in the day, they either played faster or slower, or every time they got to a certain part, well, just differently. That's one problem. So then I turned to him and I said, okay, well, fine. You didn't have a recorded music that they're lip syncing to, for lack of a better word. What did you use for a click track? Did you have a strobe light going? Did you have any one of them wearing a, you know, even if they had put a little iPod in someone's pocket with an earphone so that somebody could keep a rhythm that was whatever? Nope. That's out the window. Okay, fine. That's my first problem. Second problem I thought that was going to be an issue was that all of the dancers that performed his choreography reel did him a favor also, and they came that morning to learn the routine that 1 hour from now they're going to now be performing. They're professionals, and I think, oh, well, maybe they can handle it. Well, as the day goes along, their performance changes, and they do it differently. So I just wanted to show you guys a little bit about how I attack this. And if we have time, and my sonar here doesn't go off, toward the end of this, I would actually like to turn this into a bit of a user group meeting. And if we don't have time for that, then attack me in the hallway. If you think there's a better way to do this, please stop me from wasting my time. But here's the way that I approached it without anybody at 3 o'clock in the morning helping me along. So first, I chose to use compressor to convert all of my footage from the Canon. They shot it with a 7D. So I took all of the Canon 7D footage and I dropped it into compressor, didn't even open Final Cut Pro, and I used the 422, Apple ProRes 422 conversion to just keep all the frame rate the same and all of the resolution the same. I just said, all I need you to do is just put it in a ProRes 422 wrapper. And that's what we're looking at right now here in front of you. Basically, we have a sequence here. I started with all my shots in a timeline. I said, okay, how much footage have I got here? Okay, I've got about 18 minutes and 30 seconds of various takes. It looks like we have 1, 2, 3, 4 big hefty takes. Those are probably complete songs beginning to end. I can just identify that these here must be shorter. They must be just pickups that they did because someone screwed up, or okay, here they just wanted to get give me some shots so that we could cut something together. Give me something to cut away to. Fine. The next thing I did is I always CYA, cover my ass. I made now a backup of that sequence, and I call that 02. And I said, I want all the shots that were in number 1. Let's turn off our waveform here. You know, it's on. Okay. I want to take those now and dissect them. Now, what I did is, if you can see that shot 1 here is one big solid green box. Oh, and I also, just because I knew where I was going with this, all of my video sources, Dancing with the Stars demo conversions, I just started assigning these things colors. You know, you can either do that by holding the control button down and you'll get this, this little label thing that comes up, or when you learn the keyboard shortcuts, you'll save yourself a little bit of hassle. So even though they're not the best take, even though they're not the master file, even though they're not the in progress, whatever, I just wanted to start assigning colors so that later on I'd be able to identify which shot was which. You'll see in a moment what I'm talking about. So here we have one green shot. Now in sequence number 2, my progression of my editing madness, I went ahead and put in green shot number 1 right over the top of this. And then what I did is I went in and played it from the very beginning to the end. And one thing I didn't mention, let's also add on top of it to the fact that they shot this all with a jib arm camera. Now the jib arm camera is not a fixed thing. It has its own variables. Sometimes the guy moved it and it bounced into a wall. Literally, he bounced it into a wall. Or he was looking at the picture and it ended up slamming onto the ground, or whatever it was. Or just the fact that it was up here trying to show something that should be shown from down here. So that added on its own variables. So what I did is I put toothpicks in my eyes and I played the footage through. And what I did is I found all of the stuff that I thought, if this is going to play, right, all of the moments where I thought something worked about that, but not there. But something worked about this moment here. The camera stabilized, it stopped wiggling, it moved in. I have no idea yet how these shots are all going to come together, or even what the dance performance is. I've never learned it, I didn't dance it, I don't know it. I'm just bouncing through the select takes here to just, you know, something about the camera worked here looked interesting. In other words, it gave me something that I could possibly work with, but I don't know yet how. So I'm going to Shift Z, my favorite command in the world, to show me the whole timeline all at once, so all my shots are right there. Now, I went and did that for every single camera, and you can see here that I raised them up one track at a time, just so I could keep track of one take to the next take to the next take and to the next take, just so I'd start building a little structure here. And I'm just going to scan through this really fast, just so you can kind of see the variety of things that we have available. All right, let's move on to sequence number 3, the progression. All right, this is where basically it got a little bit crazy. Okay. So, I'm glad you guys think it's funny. Okay. All right, here's another keyboard shortcut that I just absolutely love. Shift-Z will show me everything from beginning to the end of my timeline. However, this is all just miscellaneous stuff that I knew that at some point I might need these close-up shots, but I really didn't even want to go in and pick out which was the best of this stuff, because I didn't even really know if I was going to need it. Now, if I take this and highlight all that stuff, Shift-Option-Z will reframe in my timeline just the stuff that I highlighted. You'll find it useful someday if you don't know about that already. So anyway, what I did here is I made my first attempt at trying to synchronize anything to do with these performances. Now, basically, it's like these dancers would come through and do one part to the next, and like this couple would run off stage, and then these guys would come in, and then they would run off stage, and somebody else would come in. So every time that somebody came in or started something, I would time something. I would find something like, okay, here comes a marker on the timeline. Okay, that marker on the timeline happens to be where those, oh, let me try and show you that bigger. I'm sorry here. Let's try and make this a little bigger so it's tough. This is where we need a 30-inch cinema display so you can see all your tracks and big pictures at the same time. So I tried to find a point at which I could find commonality between these shots because there was so much variable. So right now we're only seeing the top layer. I'm going to just go down the layers here and see what else I have available from all of these different angles. Control U, bring it all back into perspective here. So basically, I could go through and turn off each layer and find out what was available for my choice below it. You can see that once I had synchronized all these moments in time, I could find that if you can see where my cursor is hovering here, there's not that many choices at that point. I've got one choice, I've got two choice, or three choices, where something about that shot was usable, worked, didn't fail, is my big thing. It didn't fall completely apart. And so that's how I came up with this whole madness that we see here, is that these are all of the usable moments stacked on top of each other, synchronized to the best of my ability from points at which I could find a clap or a landing or a leg kick. I'm not a dancer, but as an editor, you certainly can tell when somebody has not landed correctly or does a double step or something messes up. And so we do the courtesy of trying to edit that stuff out. It's in our title of our name. Anyway, so there you can see that I had done a rough synchronization. Now, this was also a still frame that I sent to my client at 3 o'clock in the morning. I said, we're making progress, leave me the hell alone. Because you can see, and they don't necessarily understand everything that we're seeing here, as I'm probably not making it very clear. I also kept down here all of the audio tracks that were from each one of these performances.